Hey guys, it's Fan Fantasy and I hope you're all doing well. By now you should know that Spearhead 2 was announced and I did a video on it which you can check out before watching this video. And with me is Bundesfaust, who is a real M1A2 Abrams gunner, and we're going to be exploring how realistic is the M1A2 in this upcoming game. And we're going to go through most of the details that are presented in the trailer. Make sure to check out his channel if you haven't. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe for more, as it means a lot to support this channel. Alright, how about we go through the trailer and then we'll break down each part.
Yeah, 100%.
Alright,
let's
watch it. Alright, so right off, there was like the crew members. Are they accurate to what you guys are wearing?
Yeah, looks like it for the most part. Yeah, I got the crewman coveralls. I got the specifically the ones that we're wearing are like the early CVCUs that are in OEFCP. Because you can identify because they have the like the the vertical pocket flap instead of a zipper on the side. And they have a little flap to cover up the IR little square patch they have on there. Chicken vest looks pretty good. It's like the older CVC frag vest.
Like what year would you say this was issued?
Oh gosh, at least like back in the 70s. I don't remember the actual year, but it was used in like 70s through the 80s, 90s, and it's still used today. In fact, some National Guard units actually still issue these. There's so many of them. You used to be able to find them all over the place because when the Marine Corps lost their tanks, they pretty much sold all the coveralls and chicken vests and stuff. So you used to be able to find them for super cheap.
And it looks like the unit is a Cav Scout unit.
Yeah, first Cav.
First Cav. There you go.
I don't believe that patch is large enough. That's the actual patch takes up all of that patch space that you have there, including the flap.
If you were to guess,
very odd for them to have woodland tanks, but
yeah, if you were to guess the era of this game, like what year would it be?
Probably just looking at uniforms and stuff too. Probably around like
more modern, like
2010 to maybe 2015. I'd say probably closer to 2015.
Yeah, and a lot of people are wondering, is this an M1A2 SEP V1 or 2? From the looks of it?
It'd be V2. Actually, because the Crow's Low Pro, that'd be 2016, I believe.
Oh.
So yeah. At minimum, it would have to be 2016.
Oh, okay, interesting, because they don't put those on the Abrams anymore, right? At least not.
They do. They still put them on there, but they started putting them on the SEP V2s around 2016. It used to be the Crows too.
Okay.
Which are like the super tall ones. They have like it looks like almost like two shields running vertically alongside the gun. But the Crow's Low Prop, pretty much took that whole assembly and just turned it on its side. So it's more of a lateral setup than a vertical one.
Oh, interesting. So yeah, by you being able to identify where the Crows is at and the uniform, I guess you can kind of guess the era. Okay. Well, we'll keep going. Cool, and then you got the desert one. Yep.
Yep.
All right. Do you want to stop here?
Cool. Yeah. Sure. This is cool. If you want to go back to like the crank he was using to close the driver's hatch. Yeah. Like already I'm seeing like a bunch of detail. So in the upper right, that's the Halon fire bottle for the hull.
Like right here, right up here.
Yeah.
On your right. Okay.
A bunch of stuff. You got the RVSS screen for the rear view camera. That's the I did the improved driver's integrated display. That whole display is 100% accurate. That is exactly what that looks like. I'm looking at a picture on my phone right now.
So what's the purpose of this then? Like what does it tell you?
Like all that is basically just allowing the driver to like directly interact with the not like the DECU, which is the digital engine control unit, but also the other systems of the tank. So like you can like in your maintenance backup menu, you can actually turn off the commander's electronics and access all the maintenance functions that you would normally access from the CDU, the commander's digital display, or I'm sorry, display unit. And you can do a lot of like maintenance functions from the driver's hole and stuff, which allows like operators and mechanics to actually perform like maintenance functions and stuff. There's a couple of checks where you have to actually like dry the tank at like a certain mile per hour, and you have to do it for like a certain amount of time to get some amount of like engine data or whatever.
Okay.
But it like replaced all the analog dials and everything, and basically just made it a whole digital interface.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing on the screen too. There's also smoke gen. Is that where you turn on to have smokes on your engine?
Yeah, you'd have to have that hooked up, and then you'd need to use like DF1 or DF2, which is diesel. If you do it with JP8, you're gonna see like as from what I've heard, this is like 2 different accounts. Like if you try and use the smoke generator with JP8, which is the usual jet fuel.
Yep.
You will see like yellow and blue flames, and then your tank could potentially catch fire.
Oh my goodness!
You're not supposed to, because all it does is drip the fuel on one of the vanes of the exhaust door, and it just creates smoke, and then the exhaust flow just blows it out and disperses it. So
yeah, because it's not meant to do that, right? With the jet engine. Yeah.
Just looking at the actual interface, like the display on there, looks really good. You got 3/4 in the rear. Looks like 5/8 left, a quarter rear, or a quarter right. Which also like how the right tank is like mostly used up and probably transferred to the rear is accurate, at least in this situation. You always transfer from the right instead of the left first, because the left is used by the heater. It just sips on fuel to power it. But you can actually see the if you on like the far left side of the screen, there's the white little handle, looks like a knob. Here. Yeah, so there's that one, and there's another one a little bit further to the left, and that allows you to change the airflow, and then like the amount of airflow, and then the direction, so you can have it like equal to the driver and the turret. Yeah. Or you can have it concentrated only turret or only driver, and then you have like stop airflow, half, full. And that's what that hose running down to the right of there with the clamp on there runs to, that the white box.
So do you change that before you move out, or you can do it during?
You would just change it conditionally. You just be like, if it usually, like if it's I don't know, if it gets like, nighttime, it gets a little cooler out or something. If you're in an area where it's like freezing at night but hot during the day, it's not hard at all. You literally just pull that out and then rotate it, like turn it to the holes. There's like 3 of them on there. You can see one of them. But you just move it conditionally however you want. I've always had my driver, like, if you're gonna turn the heater on, just have it like only go to you, because it already gets hot enough in the turret. So you have all the electronics, hydraulics, which get really hot, and then the azimuth servo for the turret is like between your legs in the gunner seat. So that just, heat rises, goes up, turret, you're sweating your ass off, TC's getting warm, and then so is the loader. So usually in the turret you don't get too cold.
I also see that like there's a fire extinguisher. Like, does that just put out the fire automatically? If there's
yes, yeah, there's a fire sensor. I don't know if it might show it for a split second. It's actually like where that knob is that you're looking at. If you go straight up, there's a little white fire
like
sensor.
Right here, somewhere.
Literally just above there, above there. There's a fire sensor. And if that detects fire, or any of the hull fire or crew fire sensors detect it, that halon bottle will disperse like 20% to the driver, and then 60% to the 40% to the driver, and then 60% to the turret.
Wow.
The only problem with that is because it's a halon bottle, what it does is it literally removes the oxygen. So like if you have a fire, the drill is to put the turret over the side, and the driver like actually has to pop the hatch just to get airflow in there.
Okay.
Otherwise, the driver 100% can be asphyxiated.
Right. I wonder like if this will be a thing in the game where like, because you might take damage from whatever round or shell, right? Or something that can happen. I wonder if that will be like a function in the game where you have to press, do what you were explaining by pressing that and all that.
And it looked like before, like we were showing the crewman dismount, it looked like you might be able to dismount from your vehicle. So like if that's the case, that'd be super cool to be able to like, if you get hit, like actually, do kind of a fire drill and evacuate. And then you're basically just watching your home burn away, and you're just like, well, I guess we're just surviving now.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, right? We're waiting for more details on certain mechanics and gameplay, but yeah.
Yeah, and as far as I know, like this is pretty early, and this is already like very, very impressive. The only thing I'm like, not seeing here is there's next to the white box with the vents there, just kind of below the did. There's this little like white, it almost looks like an outlet plug or whatever next to the driver's leg. Both there's supposed to be two fire handles, one for the crew fire and one for engine fire.
Oh, okay.
And then of course on the did you have the red switch cover. That's for your engine fire second shot. So your first shot will usually go off automatically, and then if that doesn't put out the fire, you do the second shot. And if it doesn't go out, then I don't know. Get out, leave.
Just get out.
It should put it out. It's actually a very good system. I've only seen like one tank fire, and like this first shot went off, and it's done. Like,
very efficient.
Yep, we'll push to start.
Was that the commander's view?
Yeah.
It's so fast.
Oh, okay. The Kark date. Is weird. So that's when they painted the tank, basically, because Kark is the it's basically a protective paint, chemical agent reactive or resistant coating. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
But that's the date that tank was painted, which is like April 2010. Looks like. Yeah.
So that might give us a hint on the era.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you keep going forward, you can start seeing it starts moving down. You can see on the right side the little weird like nozzle thing. That's part of the NBC system. So cleaner comes through the NBC system. There's filters in there, and it just overpressurizes the interior of the tank. So you don't actually need like an airtight seal with the hatches. It just causes overpressure inside the turret, so that any like contaminated air doesn't get inside. And it only gets inside through the actual NBC filter system. Then moving kind of down towards the left. That's the panel for the crows.
Okay.
That's like 100%. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, I see the details on that, like armed, safe, override.
Yeah, which that thing is. The way they design those switches is annoying, because in order to actually like fire the weapon, you have to flip those switches up. So then that way, when you climb out of the tank and look around and then come back in, you can hit your shoulder on those switches, and then you save the weapon.
Oh.
So, which when you do that, it literally charges the reciprocates the bolt and locks it to the rear. So like, if you have to really quick, get back on it and start shooting, you're like, the fuck is going on? And you have to like put it back on fire. It's really annoying.
Okay.
Especially because it's pulling around out of the chamber and ejecting it, so you're just wasting around. You got the little bit to the left of that panel. You have the J box. The actual just below that.
There.
Yeah. That's for the intercom system. That's we call it a J box. The actual name for it is FFCS, the full function crew station. That allows you to basically select like what radio you want to monitor, what radio you want to actually talk using. And you can select up to 4 different radios. We usually just have 2 per tank, but So it's usually just Alpha and Bravo, but you can select like what radio you're actually working. So basically, which one you're talking through, which one you're monitoring, and then or you can just set it to just internal, where you're just not monitoring the radios at all. You know, which like a lot of times you'll have your drivers do that, and just so they can have that extra awareness to what the other crew members are saying, and you know, telling them to move because of the limited visibility.
Yeah.
Usually your gunners will usually monitor a company because they have to communicate with their wingman, or I'm sorry, to platoon, so they can communicate with their wingman, and then the TCO monitor a company depending on if they're like the platoon leader or the platoon sergeant.
Yeah.
Your wing tanks will usually monitor a platoon depending on what they're actually supposed to be doing. Same with loaders. A lot of times the loaders will have to take initiative and actually maneuver the tank while the tank commander figure stuff out.
Yep.
So I'll get to once we actually look at the CDU. The light bulb above that box, though, that's a dome light. It's literally just a light. You have a knob at the bottom. You just change the brightness with that off to blinding. They got you can barely see it in the far bottom right corner.
Bottom right.
They have the key. You have the keyboard back there too.
Oh, which one? Where's it? The bottom right here?
Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see the backspace key, I think. Yeah.
Here. How about here?
There's a lot. You can see how one of the major wiring harnesses that goes from the crows down to like the slip ring on the turret into the HPDU, the whole power distribution unit.
Yeah.
And that's basically what powers all this stuff. You have the two handles down there. The one that looks like it has like a bunch more switches. That's for the crows.
The one on the right here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so that's the joystick to control. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep. Which that one's a little weird because on the Crow's LP, there's two buttons on the base plate. Like how they model it here. There's two buttons on the Crow's LP. You only have one. So on the Crow's 2, you used to have a button to actually null drift because you'll have it like literally like how you might think with a controller, like controller drift, except it's not caused by like the controller having like a misaligned center. It's literally because of like just change in different like voltage. It's like just creating like an erroneous signal. So you basically have to just hold that while keeping the palm switch depressed to null drift on the actual Crows itself.
Wow.
But now they have like an auto drift function, so that button isn't there. You just have the lead one now.
So this was
that's just me. That's just me being nitpicky. It's the right handle. It looks exactly like a Crow's 2 handle. They just have a Crow's LP on there.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Nothing major.
But very detailed for sure.
Oh yeah. Everything else on that handle is just phenomenal. Which is it's weird looking at it because like I'm like almost Phantom sense, like I'm feeling it. It's really weird. They did a really good job. Same with the CCHA, the command and control handle assembly. To the left there.
And that's where they'll override.
Yeah, that's where you have your 4-way on there. You do your you use your CITV. You have your designate button underneath the square shaped black switch cover. The one to the just below it, the little red looks like a dot.
Mm-hmm.
That one's it's a toggle, and that's what you use to manipulate that. Like, if you're in GPS gun line of sight, that's how you would laze. And then if you're just in CITV manual and narrow field of view, you would use that to use your CITV steady reticle, and you can move it up to make it bigger, or make it smaller, and then move it down to make it bigger.
I see.
But yeah, but everything on the CDU is 100% correct. That looks phenomenal.
Yeah, and the BMS map will be on the bottom screen, and then the CITV or the gunner's site will be on the top screen, right?
Yeah, you'd have your CITV on the top, and then to the left of the CDU, you have like, it looks like the GPS eyepiece. It's literally the same part too. That's your GPSC, your gun
Okay.
primary sight extension, where you co-witness the same scene as viewed as the gunner.
Yeah. Okay.
That's realistic. The unbolted mount for the brow pad, everyone does that.
Ooh,
usually they leave the mount there, but people usually just remove the brow pad for whatever reason.
Oh. Okay.
And you can see you can see a lot into the gunner seat too.
Yeah.
In the station
there will be I think there will be a shot on that. We can keep going.
And this just looks awesome. This is sick. The whole platoon there. This is cool. I love how I never thought in a million years I'd be excited to see a DVE appear on my screen.
So what's a DVE?
So this is the driver's vision enhancer. This is literally a thermal sight for the driver.
Yeah.
In fact, so the little headpiece on top, on the, where is it? You can kind of see it. So you see the little looks like a handle on the upper right corner of the screen.
Like right here?
No, like on the DVE.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. So like just to the left of there's a little tab, and you can move that left and right. And you can literally scan with this thing.
Okay.
This is like the greatest thing for a driver because you can see like everything.
Yeah.
And real good drivers will mess with the settings at the bottom to change their brightness, contrast, and polarity and stuff. And they'll get it to like where. In some cases, like you might have obscuration from the blast envelope that covers up the gunner sights and maybe the TC sights, but the driver might be able to actually sense that round, say, hey, you're hitting short, like just a target form or so. And he can call out targets and everything, which is super cool.
Wow.
By the way, that handle, that's just a quick release, so you just take that out and then it hinges on the other solar piece on the left. You just stow it if you need to open a hatch.
You made a really good point on like having the driver to sense the target. Like I think that's really useful for like whoever's playing as a driver, right? That they can also let the gunner know if they're short or they're over. So
and it also helps with like close targets too. Like you may have a dude just come up like right in your face, and your gun and TC might not be expecting it and looking further out, so the driver can call like, hey, RPG front right close, and then your gunner can just whip the gun around and coax a dude. But it also, like, just for gameplay as well, it's like it gives the driver more that he can do. Like, oh shoot, I have thermals. What? I can scan for stuff and like find targets. Well, really. Which is like I'm hoping there's like a lot of functionality with the I did as well, because there's a lot of like cool stuff that isn't like super like maintenance stuff that like is a little in the realm of like CUI and stuff that you can do. Like it'd be cool, like like you I don't know, select your fuel type diesel. Cool, you can use a smoke generator for this mission. That's awesome. Like using your lights, being able to use like the it's folded away now, but the panel with like the big cables right next to your face on the far right side of the whole screen. That's for your RVSS. That's your rear view sensor system. And it's that's camera, literally right? It's literally a thermal rear view camera for the driver. So the driver has two thermal sights.
Yep.
one that he can actually kind of scan a little bit with, and see the scene around him in front of, and then also see behind him.
Just in case if you have friendlies. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And not to mention you have your gunner and TC that have thermal sights too for actually shooting and stuff. Lots of really cool situational awareness.
I don't know if you notice, there's some weird pictures on the periscopes. As I'm pretty sure it's placeholder.
That's cool. It'd be cool to actually be able to like
use it.
If you could change your like if you have a preference for how high you want to be like sitting in there, it'd be kind of cool to actually be able to adjust the periscopes.
That'd be cool.
And stuff. Because I know like if you're sitting in here, you have the RVSS in the way, it can kind of interfere with that front right field of view. So being able to kind of like adjust the height so you can, you know, have your preference, I think that'd be really cool. That's a huge part with like a lot of the crew stations too. Is just like there's a lot of adjustability to it, so you can just make it like this fits me. But I'm also just overall impressed. I like the fact that they actually have the DBE in there. Very underappreciated piece of equipment. The only thing I would say animation wise is they need to have the drivers struggle with it more, because it is actually a pain in the ass to get in there.
I think the next one will be the gunner station. We'll keep going. Oh, there you go.
Oh yeah. That's my jam.
That's your station.
All right. No, they got everything here. They got you have the. I'll start from the far right. I don't know if does it pan over to the right. I don't know if it shows the GCP.
I don't think so. It's a really quick shot.
Anyway, that's super cool. So on the lower left of the scene there, past the Master Blaster, the magnifying device, behind it, that's actually the azimuth servo right there. And as far as I'm remembering all this, and I got pictures I can send you if you want to compare these, like just on screen. That is like the entire assembly there is like 1-to-1. That is phenomenal. You can see part of the gas on the far left too, above there. Of course, you got the GPS assembly, as well as the
thermals.
TIS. Yeah, you have your TIS bike on the bottom, and then your True on the top. I'd love to see what the animations look like when actually like moving the controls, especially in VR. It'd be super cool, or like with Track IR or whatever. Like being able to actually like lean over and just look into the BIOC and still be able to kind of see in peripheral like your hands, your creature's hands like traversing and manipulating stuff as you press it. That would be super cool. I also especially think that like in VR, like being able to actually like press the buttons and stuff, that would be sick.
Yep. Well, hopefully they listen and do it, because pretty sure a lot of people are looking for that. Yeah.
Already it's looking just phenomenal. I can't say that enough.
I do see the buttons to switch to index the rounds too, like Sable and Pat, heat, canister. Yeah.
Yep, you got everything there. Also, actually showed this when I first saw this trailer. I showed this to a couple of guys at GD, and they're like, "How'd they do this? Wait, what are you doing watching this when you got the real thing right behind
you?" I see they also have a spare handy flashlight there on the bottom right.
Yeah. So what's funny about those? They actually issue those with the tanks, and nobody uses them. I have never used one of those flashlights. Like, I got into the tank for the first time, like when I first got to my my first duty station. I didn't really notice it in basic, because we got on there, during OSIT. But like when I got to my duty station, I saw that, I'm like, what is this for? Because there's a sticker on there that says flashlight. It's actually missing here. It's like on that cylinder. And I was like, what does this do? Like, is this for like a gun or something? Like, what am I doing with this? And I found out just by seeing it in another tank that is the flashlight sticker. I'm like, what are you fitting in there? What flashlight? And then I saw on like the TM they had like literally a drawing that looks exactly like that of it attached. I'm like, wow, that's cool. And if you didn't know that the weird bar thing above it, that's actually a chest rest. Basically you're supposed to flip it out in front of you and adjust it so that you're kind of like between your chest and your back. It's like hugging you between the backrest of the gunner seat and the and that chest rest. And it's just to help you have a more stable sight picture when using the GPS. You don't actually need it unless you're going over like crazy terrain. In a way, it's kind of like a seatbelt ish thing. As long as you don't roll over. But like going over rough terrain, it does help. I personally don't really use it a whole lot. I mostly just use the BIOC anyway, the thermal sight on the right.
Yep.
But obscure knowledge, nobody, I don't know. To my, as far as I'm aware, not a lot of people know what that is that are not in the that aren't tankers.
Yeah, that is very interesting indeed.
I like the
destruction
I
there.
like the. Oh, that's cool. I like the cooler on the bustle rack.
Got the loader engaging. Now I want to talk about the loader. So is it standard protocol for them to engage, let's say, a ground target while the gunner is engaging a target like this?
Oh yeah, 100%. So for one of our engagements during gunner is we call it the SIMO, which is just simultaneous engagement. It's supposed to be the way it's supposed to be done is supposed to be the TC engages a PC or a truck with his 50 cal, and the loader engages trucks or troop with his 240, and then you move up and the gunner engages troops. So you have 3 targets, 2 of them presented at first, and then another one on delay. One thing we'll do sometimes, because it's just fun as hell to do, is we call it a death blossom, which is basically you wait for all 3 targets to present. You're already on your targets, and then as soon as that your gunner finds that delay target, you give your fire command to your loader, you give your fire command to the gunner on my command, and then you move up, and then the TC has already identified his target, and then fire and adjust, and all your loader, gunner, and TC are all opening up on 3 different targets all at the same time. And it looks really cool.
I think we've done it in the table 6 install base.
Yeah.
I think we did. It's similar to that, right? Or is it exactly that?
Yeah, no, that's basically exactly how it's supposed to be.
Okay.
It's basically the way it works in gunnery is just basically to take advantage of defilade time, which is basically like time that isn't going against you. Exposure time is bad. It's supposed to basically give you incentive to okay, don't be exposed because the enemy's going to shoot you.
Yeah.
And obviously so when you do your loader and TC engagements with their machine guns, you don't have to be in the enfilade because they stick up over, and you can see your line of fire isn't obstructed.
Yeah.
So the idea is as soon as you start shooting, that is your exposure time. Well, what you want to do in order you don't want your loader to start engaging, and then you're still trying to get on your target, and then it takes more time for you to engage yours when he's already done. So ideally, you want to coordinate with your crew and say, hey, you're going to be shooting give your fire command, and then when I say fire adjust, wait for me to actually start shooting, and then you start engaging. That way it's a simultaneous exposure time. It's not, some weird crap going on.
Not like desynced or anything like that. Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. I guess my concern...
There's a lot of combat footage as well.
Okay.
There's one video in particular where it was a M1A1 in Iraq. Gunner was just suppressing houses, and the loader was doing the same. You could hear the loader shooting and stuff. As well as on the footage from the Thunder Run. It was Alpha 66, if I remember correctly. It was the tank the video was recorded off of. And it's hard to tell, but if you look at where you have distortion from smoke and the actual muzzle blast, you can actually see where the loader's engaging, pretty much follow up engaging trucks and stuff along the side of the road, and the gunner at one point engages a truck that was just running alongside him. But yeah, no, 100%.
Okay.
It's not like a suit. It's an area weapon, 100%. It's not very good for engaging point targets,
right?
Unless you're really really good. But as you can see, there's no sights on it. You have the rear sight leaf, but the actual rear sight itself isn't there.
Yeah, I think we'll get a more closer look at that machine gun. So yeah, because I think I'm gonna assume that the gunner is firing his main gun rather than coax. So I just wasn't sure if that was protocol for the loader to be up there on the guns.
Normally, if it was this kind of situation, especially if you're shooting main gun, ideally, if you're shooting main gun, you're probably shooting at an armored vehicle, or maybe a bunker. And in an urban area like this, you probably want to be buttoned up or inside the turret at the very least to follow up, with more main gun rounds. But you could, if you're shooting, he might be shooting can, and you'd fire that round, shoot can, follow up with coax, and suppress the area. Mop up whatever targets are left. In that case, I would say it's probably acceptable to do so.
Okay.
It's situational for the most part, but yes, we do train for doing stuff like that.
Hmm.
Nice.
Got the day sights. Yep.
Pop this turret.
Oh, there you go. This is the
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see. Oh, on this one they have the. On this one you have the reset leaf.
Yeah.
Lucky.
So normally they don't for most.
Yeah, because the ones we have on the tanks is literally just M240. Like there's no like variant like letter there. It's just M240. And it's just the machine gun. No stock, no anything like that. You see the butterfly triggers he's got on there. I hate that thing so much. It's literally it's a thing you tighten around the buffer like tube-ish thing, the buffer nub on the back of the M240, and you have that paddle that you could press in, and it's literally connected to a little bent piece of like metal that just hooks around the trigger, and when you press it forward, it causes the bottom half to pull back, and that pulls the trigger.
Yep.
You have to like get the position of it so like specific.
Yeah.
So I've always just taken them off and just hung on to them because they're part of the weapon. But I'll usually just shoot it just by pulling the trigger. They work. I just don't like them.
This is annoying to put on, right? Yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I don't like about it is that you can't like if your coax goes down and you need a coax, you can't just. It's more effort to take this off and then take all the extra crap off and then put it in the coax than it is to just take. Oh, we have the same weapon on both mounts. Cool. Let's take this one off, and all you have to do is re-zero your coax.
I see.
But this is okay for him. It's a little weird. I mean, you could look through the ballistic panel. That's probably the safest way to shoot it, honestly. Most of the time, I've always just shot it looking through the gap there, though. It
looks like they're trying to suppress rather than actually getting accurate shots. Oh, yeah. But yeah, it is a little weird. Yeah, but hopefully we get to ADS with it. So
it'd be cool to be able to. You have a ring that runs around the load attach, and you can actually slide that whole mount like around. You can see that part of the ring there, right above his hand.
Yeah.
It's a little roller track. You can roll around to like the very front. Between the CITB and the doghouse, and then or you could put it close to like over the back, for like rear security and stuff. I like the Velcro tape on the shield in front of the like inside the turret.
Oh yeah, like the black Velcros.
That's the only where you mount your some of your miles gear. For training, and a lot of times you just take the mouse gear off and the tape just stays there. So I like the detail of it just kind of like remaining there.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool view of the loader too. Being
yeah, you got the breach in there and everything. I'm hoping. I'm sure you will be able to, but I'm hoping you can actually like fully like play as the loader and actually load rounds. That'd be so cool to actually do.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. That'd be a cool like concept to play as a loader. I know people are like, "Oh, this sounds boring. You're just the person who gives tea out to the crew," but they do play an important role of being basically second command, right, for the U.S. Army.
Yeah, no, like
situation awareness.
Like loaders are supposed to be able to like move the tank. They're another set of eyes, like so. You want to be like watching behind and closer on the tank outside. As well as loading rounds, managing radios. I'm sure like it'd be cool to actually be able to use the radios and plug in like if they had like a radio system in the game, so you could actually I don't know how big of a scale they're going for, but if
16 players,
like at least 16.
So that'd be like a full platoon, or if each person takes a tank, then yeah, almost a company. But I don't know what this scale of the game would be. So, but for sure, platoon.
Either way, it'd be cool to be able to like be able to do that and stuff.
Yeah.
As well as like things like reloading the coax. Obviously loading rounds. I yearn to scream Sabo up. That'd be awesome. Cool. So, oh, you can barely see it. So if you go from like where it says coax ready ammo and just follow it up, still in the interior,
Right
you
here,
can
right?
actually see the NBC water bottles back there.
Back here, right? These ones?
Yeah, to
Oh,
the just to the right of those,
right here.
right there. Yeah, yeah.
I
They're
can't even
literally
see.
two. They're two like I think they're like 2 liter. I think it's like 2 liters per. But there's literally it's just water for the crew when you're in NBC conditions.
Oh, do you change that often though if you're not using it?
Honestly, we haven't really used them. We don't really use them a whole lot. I know we use them in Germany because we like they're like, okay, you're in NBC protective posture or like whatever. And we're like, okay, cool. We have to stay buttoned up the whole time, or an OC is gonna like use the god gun and kill us. So we used
Hmm.
it then, but and they work fine. It's just it's literally just a giant plastic water bottle.
Yeah.
That has like a bungee cord to keep them in there.
Hmm.
But they're cool. Um, Lots of small stuff in there. I love the level of detail.
Yeah. That destruction though.
Yeah, I like that. That's like already a thing in there too.
Yep.
It's not going to be like a late, thing. And this is supposed to be like pretty early in development,
Yeah.
I think. And yeah, I don't know. This is already looking very promising. I like the I like the missing rubber mud flaps on the front. Those things fall off for some reason. They fall off or they get ripped off.
Or it just comes off. Yeah.
Yeah. Looks
But
like
yeah.
they got tow bars for like every tank though, I guess.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting recovered.
These are the tow bars, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really weird to mount because you have to like it's like you're crossing your legs the way you mount them because like the top half of that bar that's just free moving. If you could just pick that up and rotate it.
I see. Yeah.
Not easily because it's attached to the Y shape like linkage there that's attached, but it's kind of a pain to get up there.
Yeah. But yeah. What's one or two things that you're excited about in this game to end off?
The game.
The game itself?
Honestly, if anything, like mostly driving and loading. I just think it's really cool, like the amount of fidelity, at least that I've seen so far, the amount of fidelity that's in those two stations, especially with the driver. Because like a big problem, and I think we talked about this before, is like having like more for the driver to do for that's just like fun to do. That makes people want to go like, oh hey, I'll drive, off the
Yep.
rip instead of someone going like, "Oh, God, I'll TC, I'll shoot shit," and then the driver's kind of like, "I guess I'll drive." Having that like
Yeah.
extra level of like, "Oh, I want to do this because the DVE is cool and like you can do this and this is how you actually do it on the Abrams. This is awesome." Things like that, like that's hype for me. Like if they I'm sure they'll get like the gunner station, TC station, pretty spot on. They have there's a lot of references they can go to. Worst case scenario is they get it 1-to-1 with like Steel Beast, which is also like nearly 1-to-1 with real with real life. So I'm not really worried about that, honestly. I hope they do a really good job, and I think they will. Just looking at like at least on a visual level, it looks like they're going to. But I think it's super cool that the loader and the driver are going to be playable, and just looking at it, it looks like they're going to have like real stuff to actually do. That's like cool, like multi-crew gameplay experience.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems like it's gonna be a lot of fun to do. Like get it with your three of your buddies and be able to crew like something of this fidelity. Like this is nuts.
Yeah. Any concerns for this game? Since it's still early and description is still pretty brief and simple, but what you have any concerns for this game or?
I guess if anything, like missions and being able to make missions. As far as I know, because I have honestly not obviously not kept up with like with a lot of like micropros and their other works. I know they did like the original like M1 tank platoon, and that was like a huge like awesome thing. That's really the only thing I'm like aware of. So all honestly, the only thing I'm like particularly worried about is like missions and being able to make missions. I guess if anything else, like more on the side of real world, is I'm hoping they don't get like attacked. I'm sure they have like, or I'm hoping anyway. Fingers crossed that they have the actual like approval from like GD and like the DoD to make this, because this is like very much, it's very 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 accurate to the real thing, at least visually anyway. But I hope if they don't already, which I hope they do, because that saves a whole lot of headache. But there's no threat of like legal
hopefully
action.
There's no lawsuits or anything like that, because there might be things that could be OPSEC or deemed as OPSEC.
Yeah, and that's also like there's a lot of like weird gray areas there too, because a lot of this information is like public domain. It's just like the deep mechanical and technical stuff. That's where it gets a little spooky. But I'm not super worried about it. I just hope nothing happens there. Only because Steel Beast exists, and 100% that is like, as far as simulators go, like, and like having experience with like the real platform, the similarity is very, 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 very close. Aside from like the lack of certain functions like doing MRS updates or like certain maintenance stuff, but everything as far as like shooting targets is like it looks and feels very, very close to the real thing. And it's still there. So I'm not particularly worried about it. I just hope nothing happens with it.
Yeah, I mean, you raised up a good point, right? Like we can have the nice Abrams and all that, but if the gameplay is very basic or just doesn't have enough substance or real life scenarios, then you just have a nice vehicle, decent gameplay, right? Or mediocre gameplay, right? So yeah, hopefully we get
that's the main thing I'm worried about. Is like there's got to be like the ability to make missions, and it's got to be a user friendly like mission editor. And also just like off the rip, like good missions to actually play, that allow you to introduce yourself to the platform, and then also introduce your friends as a collective crew on the platform to the game, and kind of to get off on the right foot, and then be like, oh, this is cool, man, I want more out of this. Like, oh, here's the mission editor, I can use this to make this specific kind of scenario I want, and do all this crazy stuff. And it's not hard to do. That I think is going to make or break it. But I'm very optimistic. I really want to see this be successful, because this just looks awesome. I'm already like thrilled with like Steel Beasts. This is like, now it looks pretty, and like it probably will sound really nice. Like, hell yes, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and I guess it's the scale of it is different too, right? With Steel Beast, because this is gonna probably be a platoon size game. I'm assuming 16, and you have 4. You do the math, right? It's full platoon, unless we're allowed to take control of a company with one person on. But yeah, the scale of it is different, and so there is still a niche and difference of both sims or games. So
yeah. And even at the platoon level, I think there's definitely like a lot to get out of it. But definitely having like scalability would be really cool too. I know you said about 16 players.
Yep.
It would be cool to see it with a little more player count. I know there's like, especially with more high fidelity stuff, you do run into
networking issues. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Some netcode stuff. But if possible, maybe in the future, I could totally see this being like completed and released with a platoon type stuff, which would be cool, because then you're kind of more I don't want to say restricted, because that makes it sound bad, but more I guess like coaxed into doing like platoon level stuff and having a full crew per vehicle, which I think is like ultra cool.
That would be really
I don't know
cool.
why that's the thing, like having a fully crewed vehicle that has this kind of like fidelity, that like you look at the tank next to you, there's like there are 4 dudes in there operating this thing. That's just awesome to me.
Yeah. Yeah, like even in Steel Beast, we only get like what, maybe 2 or 3 per tank and all that at most.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Either way, even at the platoon level, like this, it's gonna be cool.
all right. Yeah. I think we'll call it here. This is a nice breakdown of the Abrams and the trailer. So hopefully it does well.
Yeah, 100%. I'm excited for it.